You're listening to the Balanced Educator Podcast, episode number 38.
Welcome to the Balanced Educator. We're your hosts, Kaylee
and Josiane from EduCalm. Our intention is to equip and empower you to feel more calm, balanced, and joyful in all aspects of your life. Hello, and welcome to the Balanced Educator Podcast. If you're new, welcome. We're so happy you're here. We invite you all to subscribe so that we can connect with you every single Monday when our new episodes come out. Thank you to everyone who has returned or who is binge listening to the show. We appreciate you so much. And we can't thank you enough for leaving us reviews lately. When you leave a review, it only takes a minute or so of your time, but it truly is what makes our podcast possible. And it makes a huge difference for us and for our small business. So thank you so much. Now, this week, we are talking about the importance of making mistakes. This one is for all you recovering perfectionists out there. Both Kaylee and I are recovering perfectionists. So in this episode, we get into a lot of personal things about mistakes we've made or mistakes that we are afraid of making. We want to remind you before we get started that enrollment for EduCalm Classroom and École EduCalm is open until October 31st, so not much longer to enroll. EduCalm Classroom is our ready-to-use mindfulness program that gives you a full year of mindfulness practices and curriculum so that you can learn and practice mindfulness daily with your students. And when you enroll in EduCalm Classroom, you have access to all of our guided mindfulness practices, lessons, and activities in both English and French. Now, the only way to get EduCalm Classroom after October 31st is if you attend our half-day live professional development workshop in Winnipeg that is coming up on November 9th. Called EduCalm Classroom, Daily Guided Mindfulness Practices and Curriculum to Support Student and Teacher Well-Being, Classroom Management, Resiliency, and Learning. So in this half-day workshop, you will learn how to successfully implement a daily EduCalm Classroom mindfulness practice and how the EduCalm Classroom curriculum can be linked to your regular teaching curriculum. A year subscription to EduCalm Classroom and École EduCalm is included in the cost of this workshop. This hands-on professional development workshop will begin with a demonstration of how to introduce mindfulness to your students as you experience the first lesson as the student. Then you will have the opportunity to adapt the demonstrated lesson for your own classroom and practice teaching it in small groups. We will then go through the EduCalm Classroom curriculum module by module, and as we work through the modules, you'll have the opportunity to pair up with teachers of similar age groups to plan how you will link the EduCalm Classroom resources and activities to your regular teaching curriculum. And by the end of this workshop, you will have a full year plan and the confidence to practice mindfulness daily with your students using your EduCalm Classroom subscription. You'll also be given all of the tools necessary for your introductory lesson with your students. We're also going to serve some delicious snacks and beverages from local small businesses during this half-day workshop. Now, the morning workshop will be in French, en français, from 9:30 to 12, and the afternoon workshop will be from 1 to 3:30 p.m. So you'll have the option whether you want to come and hear it all in French or in English. And both of the workshops will be held at the University of St. Boniface. My brain was conflicted there on whether I should say that in French or in English. So for more information on that, you can go to www.educalm.com /Educalm Classroom PD. And Educalm is spelled EDUCALME. And if you want to take it in French, there'll just be a tab that you can click there where it'll say, I want to take this workshop in French. And you'll get all of your information there and be able to enroll in either languages. So the great thing about this workshop is that because it's a professional development workshop, and you are going to get Educalm Classroom at the same time, you can either use your classroom resource budget for this, or you can use your professional development budget to cover the total of the workshop. So it kind of gives you more options, because we know that a lot of school divisions in Manitoba, you have quite a large professional development budget to dip into. So this we thought would be a great opportunity. So we are so excited to host this and to meet you all in person. I think it's going to be so great. All right, so now let's get into our Making Mistakes pep talk.
All right, this one is for all the recovering perfectionists out there. Today we are talking about why it is so important to make mistakes.
Make mistakes pep talk.
Yeah. Okay, Josiane, why should we... This is so backwards, right? Like, we always think that we should never make mistakes. So can you tell me why I should make mistakes?
You won't learn if you don't make mistakes. It's as simple as that. You have to make mistakes to learn anything. That being said, it's one of my everyday struggles that I want to be perfect. And for what?
I don't know. It's so funny. We have this programming in us that says, like, we have to look perfect, we have to sound perfect, we have to be perfect. When, like, what is perfect anyway?
Yeah.
Like,
that
who
word
defines what perfect is?
Okay, I once looked up the definition of perfect, and I think the definition was like, it's complete.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that means that as long as I finish my work, it's complete. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I think perfect is just this impossible to reach idea that we've formulated in our minds.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Perfect is something that doesn't actually exist and also doesn't serve anyone, right? Being a good teacher can't be perfect. You cannot be the perfect teacher because you have a range of students in your classroom with a range of backgrounds, with a range of parents, guardians. There are so many different expectations in your classroom. There are so many different values and value systems in your classroom that what you would deem as perfect isn't going to be seen as perfect in someone else's eyes. And what is seen as perfect in one person's eyes will not be seen as perfect in another person's eyes.
Yes, I feel like we could really get into perception here. Because we all have this experience. We did a presentation or something, and at the end, we're so disappointed in ourselves because we thought we did horrible and we made all these mistakes and it just wasn't as perfect as I pictured it to be in my mind, and we make this big deal of it. But then your friend comes over and they're like, wow, you did such an amazing job. That was perfect. That was incredible. And you're just all hard on yourself. Oh, I don't feel like I did good. It's all in our minds. So why do we create these stories in our minds? Why do we take on these perceptions about ourselves but not about what others are doing?
I wish I could answer that. I think that we have been trained through our non-growth mindset upbringing, which we are trying to change. And we have an episode about growth mindset, or a couple episodes that will be out or are already out about growth mindset.
We'll put them in the show notes.
Yeah, definitely. But it's this idea that there is one place to reach and that we are either right or we are wrong. And then that's it. That we can't improve after that, that we get one chance, one opportunity.
Just a throwback to the 90s. I love it.
Oh, I couldn't help myself.
Oh my God.
But that, like, you have one chance to be perfect and that's it. But that's just not the truth in life. Like, when you're a teacher in a classroom, you have a whole year, you have every day, and then you have the year after that to improve on it and make it better. And when it comes to creating lessons for our students in our classroom, perfect for one group is not perfect for another group. So really, what is better for us is to have this adaptability and this growth mindset that allows us to understand that it's about adapting and changing, and you keep trying and you keep working on it, but that there really isn't an end goal.
It's really interesting because we now in schools often we try to teach our kids about growth mindset, but then, and the importance of making mistakes, right? But then we're not modeling that. Exactly. Because we as teachers are trying to be perfect. And this is a struggle for me. Like, this is something I'm constantly working on, is like being okay with not being perfect.
Yeah. And you know what? It just made me think of, like, when you ask when you're struggling with something, like, I'm just thinking, like, if I've been in front of the board sometimes and writing something on the board and I like spell something wrong, or I like add something wrong, and one of my students notices it and says, "Hey, you made a mistake here." And I go, "Oh, thanks. Awesome. Okay, how can we fix this?" And I actually talk them through, "Okay, so here's how I made the mistake." And so it's not like you don't get defensive about it. You go, "Oh yeah, here's a great teaching opportunity."
I was going to say, like, this is not just a great time for you to make a mistake. It's perfect for the kids too, because they're learning from your mistakes as well.
Yeah. Now, this also makes me think of mistakes that I've made throughout my career teaching that have been the most important lessons I've learned.
Ooh, tell us about them. I want to hear it all.
Well, okay, I'm going to be super honest here. In my first or second year of teaching, I cared so much about my students, and I was putting in all this time, and I was making these projects that I was so excited about, and really just putting my heart and soul into my teaching. And I had my first parent that was not happy with the way that I was teaching. Yeah. And they made a whole big stink and sent me a nasty email. And I really took it hard. And my response was to email them back and try to explain how much I cared about their child and how I was doing my best and how I was supporting them in their growth. And this was my teaching philosophy and this whole long thing. And I was like, okay, now they're going to understand that I'm a good teacher. And they came back with an even nastier email, and my heart shattered into a million pieces, and it was really hard on me. And I, again, did not learn from the first experience and sent them an email back, again, trying to explain myself. It clearly wasn't getting through to them, and it wasn't helping the situation, but I just felt this need to prove or show.
Be perfect.
Yeah, that I was perfect.
Show you were perfect, yeah.
Exactly. And, in the end, that didn't work. And thank goodness for my amazing administrators at the time that had my back. And, I went to them and said, I don't know what to do now. And they're like, don't worry, we have your back. We had a meeting. And I am so in the moment. I wasn't sleeping. This happened over about a week. I wasn't sleeping. I was miserable. I was so torn up inside about this. And I'm so grateful now that it happened, because that's when it taught me that it isn't about being perfect for other people, because no matter what I do, no matter how good of a teacher I am, there's always lots of different perspectives in my classroom. And it isn't up to me to be everyone's version of perfect. it is up to me to be the best version of myself, and I cannot control how they perceive my actions.
Yes, I love that.
So I'm so in the time, like that felt so hard and like such a struggle. And now I'm so grateful for that experience because it has shaped me and given me so much more. I feel so much more empowered now and confident now and secure now that had I not had that difficult experience, I would still be there trying to be perfect for everyone else.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you here, how would you have handled that situation, or how would you handle it now?
Now I would not send an email back, and I would say, hey, why don't you come to my classroom? I'd love to chat about this and talk about it in person, because in writing, things can be perceived in a million different ways.
Okay, what would you have told them?
Well, I learned once I did end up having an in-person conversation with that original parent that their reaction was based out of fear and worry and love for their child that was coming out in a way that I perceived as an attack. And I think now I would go into these conversations just being open and asking the parent about their concerns, and rather than trying to solve the problem, honestly, I would kind of coach them through their perceived problem, and I wouldn't take it so personal. I wouldn't take their reactions to their emotions that come from their perception as something that I am doing right or wrong. Obviously, be open to hearing them out and not patronizing them or anything like that. Obviously hearing them and having a discussion, but just coming from a non-defensive place, coming from a place of openness and curiosity and non-judgment, which comes from what I've learned in my mindfulness practice.
That's a really good answer. I feel like that's a really hard question to answer.
Yeah.
So good job. Well done. That was perfect. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Now, this is what I will do or would do in this hypothetical situation. But in real life, who knows? Maybe those insecurities or worries would come back up and it wouldn't go as smoothly. But again, it would teach me something that would help me to be better in the future.
Sometimes emotions are just so strong.
Yeah.
And we just have to accept that.
Yeah.
It's part of being a human.
Okay, Josiane. So I just spilled my guts and my heart out. It's your turn. What is a mistake that you've made or something that's gone wrong, that wasn't perfect, that has happened in your life that has helped you to grow and been a blessing in disguise?
So I think not necessarily making the mistake, but I've something that I always have been working through and continue to work through is being afraid of making mistakes when I'm presenting to a group of people. So, and that's a pretty typical fear, right? Being in front of a lot of people. And I don't really know where it stems from, because I don't ever recall doing a presentation and failing. It always goes pretty good. And also that's something I've been working really hard on. Last year, how many presentations did we do with our business, right? So I really put myself out there. But every time it's I have to talk myself out of the fear and into the presentation. Mm-hmm. And one way that I've done this is actually just by writing, using affirmations, but more paragraph style, where I'll write down I'm really good at presenting. I can connect with my audience. I can, just kind of in that format. And then, so before every presentation, I'll either write a new one out or I'll read one that I wrote like another time, and I'll read it over and over and over again. And it kind of eases that fear and that like anxiety about presenting.
Yeah. The funny thing,
it's kind of off though, because it's not like that I've actually made the mistake. But it's the wanting to be perfect, right? Like not wanting to make that mistake.
And the things that you could potentially turn down or miss out on because of the fear that you might not be perfect. And, you know, how much have you learned and grown this year through doing those presentations? And, and even like you're a great presenter. And you always get so nervous or less and less.
Yes, it's better and better.
But, you know, it's like, and at the end, you're always like, why was I so nervous? Like, that went really well. I enjoyed myself. Yeah. That was fun. I loved connecting with the audience.
Every time I do a presentation, at the end, I'm like, man, that was fun. Like, I want to do it again. But then the next time, it's like I have to start over. But every time, it's a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. So it's exactly like in the episode, the growth mindset episode, you were talking about that path, right? The path is getting easier and easier to walk on with time, but with a lot of compassion. Yeah. Because, it's a struggle.
So what have you learned this year from seeing and observing your fear, seeing and observing and feeling your anxiety, and doing it anyway, and then observing that pattern?
So I'm recognizing that it's just an emotion that's going to pass, right? Like it's just something that I'm feeling right now, but I'll get through it. I'll get past it. And every time I'm proud of myself for having done a great job at presenting. So then, because I have that sense of like happiness and pride, the next time gets a little bit easier. When I start feeling that emotion, I can remind myself that it always goes really well. Last time it went really well. The time before that, it went really well. And I think that's just why the path gets easier and easier to walk on.
Yeah.
Did that answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely. So the fear of making mistakes is so big in so many of us. Letting go of that fear is, I would say, pretty close to impossible. Like, I don't know if any of us...
It's an emotion. It's a basic emotion, right?
Exactly. We have this ingrained human emotion that we don't want to make mistakes because we don't want to be shunned by our community and therefore have to live in the forest on our own.
Which never happens.
Which never happens. So I think that's one thing that's been so useful in a mindfulness practice is learning to just observe those emotions as they arise and know that they're going to come and go and that you're going to get through it and it's okay and it's nothing to be afraid of. And I think it's the fear, the fear of the fear, right?
Yes,
it's
for sure.
It's the not wanting. And I've noticed you do this sometimes in your pattern of the, like, you start beating yourself up a little bit when you're feeling worried before a presentation. Cause you're like, I know it's going to be fine. I shouldn't be worried.
But I am.
But I am.
Yeah.
And I think that just highlights, like, we do that so often. We recognize our emotion and then we go, I shouldn't be feeling this way. Or you get mad at yourself for feeling that way. And then you're just adding more fuel to the fire.
Yeah. Thankfully, I have an in-house coach, Kaylee Lefko, that just talks me through it.
Oh, we do it for each other.
It's true. It's awesome.
We're so lucky.
It's so good.
So making mistakes is scary, but so important. And I invite you guys, listeners, to just think back, look at your path and those big defining moments, those big scary things that happened, those mistakes that you may have made. Just think of how they have helped you to grow and what they've taught you and how you have been better for it and from it. I think that for all of us, a lot of our biggest struggles, our biggest hurdles have become our biggest strengths because we've learned to go through them, to climb that mountain, and it's made us better in the end. And when we reflect on those things and take the time to see that struggles can create our strengths, when the next struggle comes up, the next fear comes up, the next worry comes up, we have a bit of that. We're reminded, oh yeah, okay, this is a scary thing, but that's okay because I'm going to be stronger for it. And that also is going to help develop the growth mindset.
I think that knowing, like being aware of the fact that something, it never stays the same, like nothing ever stays the same, that you won't have that emotion forever really helps. It really helps me because when I start to get into that cycle that we were just talking about, it's like I can remind myself like, okay, this is temporary. Yes. This is temporary. It won't feel like this after this is done or whatever. I won't feel like this in a couple hours. I'm going to feel differently. And actually, this is kind of a side note, but this is a concept that is awesome to teach to kids. Like if you have a kid that has the same issue that I talked about, like is afraid to go up to present, this is a great thing to take the time to teach them.
Yeah.
That their emotions are temporary, because I think a lot of kids think that they'll feel that way, the way that they feel forever.
Yeah. As an adult, I feel like that sometimes.
Yeah, right?
Even after years of mindfulness practice.
Yeah.
I'm like flooded by an emotion. I'm like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. And it's like, okay, come on, Kaylee. This is going to pass. This too shall pass.
This too shall pass. Yeah.
Awesome. So hopefully this helps all those recovering perfectionists out there.
Make mistakes. It's important.
Yes. And, if you are holding yourself back or not living to your fullest because you're afraid of what the outcome will be, you're afraid of making mistakes, just do it anyway. Just try it. Just take that leap and see what awesome, amazing things come out. We were so scared to start this podcast.
Oh my goodness. We were scared to start this business.
And I'm so glad that we moved through that fear and stopped. Man, in our first couple podcast episodes, we were like, we would stop recording every 2 seconds. We would edit out every
Every time our dogs would move in the house, we'd be like, we got to stop it.
Yeah, we got to fix it. And now we pretty much don't edit at all.
Yeah. And also I think that makes us more human to people. I'm like,
exactly.
Those mistakes when I stumble on my words, when my bilingual brain just isn't cooperating during an episode, well, that's just me.
Yeah. This is just who we are. And like this creates human connection. And the same is true in our classroom when we are just ourselves and we stop trying to be perfect and we stop trying to never make mistakes, then we are opening ourselves up to a deeper connection with our students, with our colleagues, with the families. And just be yourself.
Yeah. Go and make mistakes.
Go make mistakes. Let us know how it goes.
Yeah. Hopefully this helped you to have a little less fear around making mistakes. So your exit ticket for today, check out Educalm Classroom at www.educalm.com/classroom. Registration closes real soon on October 31st. And if you're in Manitoba, check out our upcoming in-person workshop called Educalm Classroom, Daily Guided Mindfulness Practices and Curriculum to Support Student and Teacher Well-Being, Classroom Management, Resiliency, and Learning. It's on November 9th. In the morning, it's en français. In the afternoon, it's in English. And in the total is included a full subscription, a year subscription to Educalm Classroom. So check it out at www.educalm.com/Educalm Classroom PD. And again, Educalm is spelled EDUCALME. And this week at EduCalm, we are putting the last minute details, getting ready for ACP, which is a Canadian conference for immersion teachers. And we are also getting ready for SAGE, where Kaylee will be doing a couple workshops with some local Manitoba teachers. So that's really exciting. So if you are going to ACP, come say hi. We'll have a booth there. We'll have some free swag for you, some posters to put up in your classroom. We'll be there to chat, to meet with you. And also we'll have a very big giveaway there that you'll be able to enter. So come say hi. It's at RBC Convention Center in Winnipeg. So you'll find us there. We can't wait to see you, and thank you so much for sharing your time with us this week. We hope you have an awesome week.
Hey there, Balanced Educator. We appreciate you and the work that you're doing in the world. We are here to support you, so we've created a free resource library for you to use anytime you want. Resources for mindfulness for you and your kiddos at home or in the classroom. You can get these free resources by going to www.educalm.com/The Balanced Educator. Again, that's www.educalm, that's spelled educalme.com/The Balanced Educator. Thank you for being a part of our EduCalm community.